Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. It
Welcome
is
to
Thursday. Yeah.
our happy half hour. I'm Sam Shukavage, and with me is my dad, David Shukavage, as always. Uh, so, Dad, what are you drinking today?
Well, I am drinking iced tea.
Oh, it looks a little weird, Dad. So,
Yeah,
what,
it does sort of look a little
what,
weird.
what's going on with you over there?
Well, normally I'm at the office. I know it looks like I'm at the office, but that's the
Yeah.
miracle of I'm using the miracle of Zoom or whatever.
Mm,
And like this afternoon, the internet kept going in and out. I got like fiber to the office. I mean, but it kept going out. So I came home, and I don't want to show what my home office looks like. So I'm
oh, that's
using,
a good idea.
so here we are. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm drinking a lovely hum kombucha today, continuing my what did they call it, dry January.
Dry
So,
January. Yeah.
and cheers to everybody who has chosen not to do the dry January. I hope that you are enjoying whatever you have chosen to imbibe upon today. And just for those of you who have not joined us before, so we're actually on Zoom right now, broadcasting through Facebook. So we can't tell that you are here unless you say something. So just
Mhm.
we'd be happy to say hi, drop a note in the chat, tell us what you're drinking, tell us how your day's going.
It's just
Just
good
hang
to hear
out.
from you. Bill has come in to say hi. Martha
And
has come
Martha
in. And
and
our
Miranda.
top
Hey
fan,
Miranda.
Miranda, has also come in
Yes.
and said hi.
And Rick
I'm
and
sure
Bruce.
Marcy's back there somewhere if Rick is there.
Mhm.
Bruce.
Hey y'all, cheers. And hey Jay and Carter, good to see y'all.
And yeah, and what day is it today? We always like to celebrate the day. What day is it?
Cindy's drinking some reverse osmosis water, which is awesome. So, today is a cool day because
Huh?
today is National Dress Up Your Pet Day. And for that, we my dad and I both have some small dogs
Small dogs.
that, obviously when you have a small dog, you've got to dress them up every once in a while. So we decided that we would share share I'm looking at them right now, you can't see them yet, but share pictures of our respective dogs dressed up. So here you go. So here on the right, the bumblebee, this is Dogma. This
That's
is
Dogma.
our our
Our
office
trusty peekaboo. Yeah.
our office
And
mascot as a little bumblebee. and
uh,
and here is my wonderful husband Neil, for those of you who haven't met him. With my dog Jessie, she's looking particularly sassy. We dressed her up as an elf for Christmas, and she is not very pleased about it, as you can see. But
we dressed Dogma up as a bumblebee one Halloween. He sat out there and greeted all the trick-or-treaters. So
I know his little face. He's Oh, that's great. That's great. So, if y'all have pictures of you dressing up your pets, we would love to see them. So email them to us, send us away, and if you give us your permission, we would love to share them on our Facebook page as
oh,
well.
and I might mention, if you go on Facebook down below where it says share and click watch party, that'll tell folks on your list that you're watching this and they can join in. And it's a way to kind of share this. And we've got a great topic today to share too. What's our topic for today?
Oh man, so today we are going to be talking about Bitcoin, or
Bit,
well,
and
well,
Bitcoin and block share. Or
blockchain
blockchain,
and
the whole thing that makes it
cryptocurrency.
possible. So this
Mhm.
has been in demand. Everyone has asked us for this, and we decided to do it. Let's say hi to a few more people before we plunge into it.
Absolutely.
I think I see Cindy and Jeff
And Nadine. Hi, Nadine and Pat. I don't know if
and
Reba's there, but hey, Pat and Reba and Ricky
Kathleen
and Dave and Pat. Hey, y'all. And Miranda says that her pets are better dressed than she is. And Cindy, uh, oh, Cindy, do you have a corgi? We used to have a corgi, and she had this really cute raincoat. It was just this long,
There was a
long.
Corgi Skipper Key mix. That was a nice dog.
She was a lovely
Yeah.
dog.
And let's see, we
And
have
Lanny and Darlene. She's drinking a vodka tonic. That sounds really nice.
yeah, maybe something more is going to be in my future. Norm, Martha,
And Felicia. Oh yeah, the
Robert.
wine rack. That's actually at my parents' house, and I've told them that that I would like to inherit that wine rack someday.
Well,
And Bob and Val and Alan. Hi, y'all. Well,
so
all right. Well, what do you think, Dad? I know that we have a lot of ground to cover. Do you want to go ahead and
well,
get on in there?
I think we should. I think we should. So let
And
me go here and
Diane.
share, bring up, bring this up. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. Now, we need to preface this. You know that we are, because we're in the financial industry, we are regulated.
Highly regulated. Everything
Financial
that we
industry
do.
doesn't want us giving advice to you that is bad. And so when we told them we have to get everything approved, and we told them we're going to do one on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, what did they tell us, Sam?
I actually, I
I
actually,
said I wasn't going to chime in, but I'm chiming in. David, you look like you are
I
about to
know
be
I
in a
do, and
vortex of I don't know what is
I
going
think
on.
it's because the sun's coming in, and from
It,
somewhere,
it's so great.
yeah,
I
the
don't know.
sun's coming in.
Sorry.
So I'm really not this weird. It's just I'm getting a reflection. Hang on, I know what to do. Keep going, Sam.
all right, all right. I'm gonna take this over. So I actually our compliance team, every topic we have to send through compliance because we're very regulated. I decided to copy exactly what they told us when we told them this would be our topic today. They said, I am concerned with the presentation of content for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, as these are high risk investments that are not on the AE Wealth Management platform. Please confirm that this will remain a high level discussion with no investment advice given on these types of investments.
So you can see
So,
we're going to keep it high level, and actually in the time allotted, we can't get into much more than that. But I think we can give some good insights. We can give some good insights. And Bitcoin is based on something called the blockchain, a technology, a relatively new technology called the blockchain. And it has a lot of applications. We'll talk about some others here in a minute. But want to start with the big picture. You know, we all deal with banks and credit card companies and things like that. Sam, why is it we need a bank to, do our checking account, or a credit card company to give money to people? Why do we need that? What's the purpose?
well, I guess they kind of keep track and handle all of our transactions, right? They hold
Yeah.
our money and
I mean, think
we
about
tell
it.
them where to send it.
If you want to, if you, for instance, have $1,000 in your checking account, and you want to send, say, $100 to Amazon, right? You go tell the bank that, hey, I want you to send 100. They send them 100, and they know you have 900 left. They kind of keeping track. They're doing the books. They're this middleman in between. Unless you're going right to them with cash in hand, if you're doing it in some other fashion, you kind of have a middleman.
Yeah,
What is that?
that's how it used to be. Back before technology, back before the internet existed, you used to go to the store and you would walk up with your cash and you would pay for your good or services. But it's
Now,
different now.
what other baggage comes along with the need for a bank? Sam, what else does that require people? What other things come along with that?
You mean,
Well, one thing is you've got to give info. You've got to give them your name, your social security number, all these other things.
oh yeah.
Um, what else comes along with this?
Some of the downsides.
Yeah,
Well, oftentimes have you ever gotten that call that your credit card or your bank account has been hacked?
yeah, a lot of people have
I'm going to chime in again. Jeff says fees.
fees.
Exactly. Yep. And some of those fees are built in because your credit card or your bank
Mhm.
expects a certain amount of fraud because they realize that you are going to be hacked.
So there's a lot of baggage that comes. I just want to give money. I want to hand them cash, but I got to go through all this and I got to give them info. And oh, by the way, I got to give them my social security number. And now it's all reported to the tax man and everything else. Wouldn't it be great if I could get back to cash in hand, but do it electronically? And if it wouldn't it be great if I'm here and I want to put money here that I could just send the money to them directly?
Yeah.
But somebody has to keep track of that. Someone has to keep track of that transaction. And that's sort of where the blockchain comes in. When you make that transaction, they kind of encase that information. And one way it's often described is like a bug caught in amber. We're going to take that transaction and we're going to lock it up so it can't be hacked or changed.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to do that for multiple transactions and create almost a chain of these transactions. And that's what's known as the blockchain.
Yeah, each block is about 10 minutes worth of
Mhm.
transactions of people wanting peer to peer buying and selling. In this case, it would be Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency it is that you're trying to sell. And the blockchain is essentially a ledger or a database of these transactions.
So we start with the transaction. Where is it sent to, Sam?
It's sent out to this global network. I think that there's 10 at least 10,000 plus different nodes or computers right now who are all in essence competing at the same time
Yeah.
to
Well,
process this
the
transaction all at once.
the first thing, they get the transaction. What do they do with it after they get it?
They they're trying to solve these equations to confirm the validity of your transaction. So they're basically trying to verify it and confirm it.
And then they take it and they put it together in a block of
Correct.
transactions.
Yes.
And then they take that block and they just sequentially keep piling those blocks on. Just all those bugs in amber are there over time.
Yep. And that's why they call it a blockchain, is because everything is done in chronological order. So all of these blocks that are kind of 10-minute increments end up forming this chain.
And one of the things that make it secure is there's 10,000 of these computers out there all recording the same information so
They're
that
all
it,
across the globe, all able to independently verify.
and that makes it really hard for someone to cheat or to hack it. It's taking advantage of the massive computer power that exists in the world. Does this take much computer power to do?
It takes an enormous amount of computer power. It also takes an enormous amount of energy. So while anybody can be one of these people who processes these transactions, it actually takes, you have to have an enormous amount of energy and computing power. And a fun little tidbit for you is that they estimate that just the Bitcoin network alone consumes about as much electricity as the country of Chile. So oftentimes Bitcoin is the mining is concentrated in places with abundant renewable energy.
Now, blockchains can be used for many things, but Bitcoin is one of them. It's this currency. And let's step back and think about currencies as a whole. First of all, when it comes to a dollar, um, why do we have faith in the dollar? Why are we willing to, have someone give us dollars in exchange for our labor or something that we have? Why do we trust the dollar?
I mean, isn't it kind of just like a collective agreement?
Yeah, we just all agree that this is good currency. The government's kind of saying they're going to back it up, but right now it's only backed by the government. Now, you can't see this one. I pulled this off the web. But this is actually a dollar from prior to 1964. And if you read it closely, you'll see it says silver certificate. I still remember I know many of you in our audience probably can remember silver certificates. It says $1 silver on this, and you could take this to a bank and exchange it for an actual silver dollar. And remember, there's also at one time the money was backed by gold, and you could exchange the money for gold. So there it was backed by silver and gold. But that brings another question: why do we consider gold and silver to be valid currencies? Why are you willing to trade something for a gold coin or a silver coin? What's special about gold and silver?
They are in short supply. They are in demand. There's not that much of it.
Yeah, there's a limited supply. What does it take to get more? If you want to get more gold, what do you got to do?
You've got to go mine it.
You got to go mine it. You got to put work in. So scarcity and difficulty is one of the things that makes gold and silver important. The Indians used to use shells. The American Indians used to use shells for money. You often find necklaces, Indian necklaces from many years ago made out of shells, antique necklaces. Well, it was because that was their wallet. That's where they kept their money. So people have often agreed that certain things, scarce things, are good for gold and tin. So up comes the idea of using the blockchain for money. Now, that brings us to this guy. How do you pronounce it? Do you know how to pronounce it, Sam?
I not only what I've discerned.
Okay.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
And you were researching this. How come we don't have a picture of Satoshi Nakamoto?
We don't have a picture because it is a pseudonym. He has preferred to stay anonymous, like Banksy.
So the inventor of Bitcoin, we don't know who it is. It's an imaginary man or woman or something that
yes, he or she. There's been, whenever you try to look, there's a few pictures where they've tried to identify people that they believe could be Satoshi Nakamoto, but they have adamantly denied it.
Who could it be? But that's one thing when you talk about putting money into an investment that was invented by someone that remains anonymous. Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, how do we get more Bitcoins? How are Bitcoins created?
They are created by being mined.
That's right. We mine Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm. That was the idea, is that they should not be, to be to be difficult to come by.
Right. And
they shouldn't be readily available.
And how are Bitcoins mined?
So each time one of these blocks is created, and in these 10-minute increments, these transactions are processed. The the miner who wins this race, who successfully completes these algorithms and equations and completes this block first, they receive the Bitcoins as their payment. And
So,
that is how they're mined.
so through a complicated process, we don't have time, basically because they're encasing all this in amber and keeping track of it, they're getting paid in Bitcoin. And that's where Bitcoins come from. How many Bitcoins are there now?
As of the middle of December, there were about 18.5 million Bitcoins in existence.
And how many are they going to mine them forever? What's the upper limit? Is there an upper limit?
There is an upper limit, and that is 21 million Bitcoins.
So there is a degree of scarcity here. They're only going to make 21 million, just like gold is scarce. There's a limit to the number of Bitcoins that are going to be mined.
Their estimate is that at the current rate with the current rules, in 2140 is when they estimate the last Bitcoin would be mined. So there's plenty in 120 years, there's plenty of time for any of these rules to change.
So now tell me about this chart. You pulled this chart off the internet in the last few days.
I did. So this is the price of Bitcoin starting January 1st, 2017 until today, this morning. So it's interesting because as you can see here, in 2017, it hit a peak, just about, it almost hit $20,000. And it did not make that peak again until the middle to the end of November of this year. And now we're playing right about 40.
Yeah, you can see it.
We've more than doubled that.
Since the end of November, it has kind of doubled.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you get something like this that has these big rapid increases for like maybe no apparent reason, what do you typically call that?
Well, potentially a bubble.
A bubble. This is an interesting little chart from a economics professor that shows a typical bubble, because there've been bubbles forever. And you see, you got a place here where you get media attention, and then people are enthusiastic. Then they get greedy. Then they get diluted. And this is a new paradigm. Like Bitcoin, you might consider it a new paradigm. Then it falls. We get denial, bounces up a little bit. Oh, good, we're back. But then all of a sudden it starts to fall. We get fear, capitulation, and despair. The question is Bitcoin a bubble? And if so, where are we on this bubble? Samuel Clemens said, a quote, one of my favorite quotes is, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. We can go back in history and look at some other famous bubbles. Let's go back to 1634. In 1634, tulips, which were not in Europe, they came from Turkey. There was like a couple-year period where tulips suddenly became considered very valuable, and everybody, rich and poor, were buying tulip bulbs. And depending on how fancy the tulip was, the bulbs went for different amounts. And if you look at the records, some of the best bulbs, the price at the peak here was more or less equivalent to a mansion. It was extraordinary. And inside of literally a 2 or 3 day period, it all collapsed. It's one of the famous bubbles of time. That was 1634. If we go back about a century to 1718 to 1721, we had the South Sea stock market bubble. It was investment in stocks involved with the South Sea. It too was a crazy bubble. Interesting at that time, this gentleman, Isaac Newton, oops, that's not going to work. Isaac Newton, you know, Isaac Newton was a smart guy, you know? I mean, he invented gravity, right? Well, Isaac Newton invested in the bubble here, and then he was smart enough to get out. And then he saw all his friends getting rich when it was here. And he kind of got greedy at this point, and basically he got out here when he lost it all. So, you know, there's a lot of smart people buying Bitcoin today. Isaac Newton was a smart guy buying the South Sea, and he lost his shirt. Just history again. Are we rhyming potentially? You know, so is this another bubble? And Sam, you had another interesting observation on this.
Oh, well, I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but my is it a bubble? I don't know, but is it a good time to buy? When I look at this graph, I don't necessarily think so. This doesn't, the adage is buy low, sell high. And when I look at this graph, I don't necessarily consider this me buying low. And if you were to take out the last few, the last month, I look at this graph and I see a very highly volatile.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to know if in the future it's going to go way up here or it's going to go way down here. But the probability of it being a bubble that burst is pretty good when you look at it from a historical perspective.
Mm-hmm. And
And
those, oh,
we're running out of time, so we're going to move. Bitcoin isn't the only cryptocurrency. I went on today and I thought, well, let me get a list of cryptocurrencies to put here. And I started scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. These are the top 10, but there are 7,800 cryptocurrencies and more are popping up all the time. So, you know, again, it's not like in terms of the fact that anybody can do it, what's keeping something like Bitcoin itself solid, you know? The blockchain, though, the technology, and the real lesson here, or a lesson here, is that um, the blockchain can be used for many other things. This is off the Motley Fool. And you can see the blockchain can be used for digital IDs, uh, loyalty rewards programs. You could get your frequent flyers on the blockchain, voting, um, uh,
medical record keeping.
medical record keeping, wills and trusts could be done. So the thing about the blockchain is it does have the potential to shake up the banking, insurance, legal industry by this whole new way to lock things in amber and keep track of things and spread it out. So this is where it comes from.
And I
There's
think that the idea of cryptocurrency, the more that when I've been reading about it, reading about the ideas behind it to prepare for this, I think that there's some very compelling concepts behind it. I like the idea that it could be something, that you could be utilizing globally independent of any certain country. I like I think that there's some really interesting ideas behind it, but one of the risks that you have, especially with Bitcoin or any one of these, is that it's still in its infancy. When you're investing in Bitcoin, uh what is one of the uh in currently the world is not set up for you to be able to really easily spend your Bitcoin yet. It's not set up for you to spend your cryptocurrency. You're kind of investing in this possibility that someday this someday cryptocurrency could be a thing, and Bitcoin might not be the one that takes off. I read a statistic that in November, digital payment processors handled 269.7 million of merchant sales worldwide in Bitcoin. But in comparison, US retail sales registered 546 billion. So it's, it really is,
Yeah,
the truth is that you could put money in here, but it could just go away
like it
at
could be
any
in
time. There's
just
no,
like the tulip bulbs.
it could, yeah,
Yeah,
but the tulip bulbs, you at least have a tulip bulb at the end of it.
yeah.
At this,
Now,
there's
here's
nothing.
here's one final lesson. We know that given this Bitcoin world, there's going to be a lot, it's likely that a lot more people will use this, a lot more computers will set up to do this. You know, if you go back to the gold rush in California, there are a lot of people out there mining gold. Some of them hit it rich, a small number, many of them didn't. But you know who made money during that time? It was it was the people, it was the people that were actually selling the pickaxes to the miners that made money. And in as cryptocurrency and all goes on, somebody's going to be selling them the computers and the memory and the power and the cables. In fact, in our own investment group, one of the groups we work with, Sterling, one of their investment strategies was to invest in companies that were involved in this because they could see that the amount of info stored every second is huge, and people, we're going to see a continuing demand for that. So maybe the way to get rich on cryptocurrency is to sell them the pickaxe and not go after the gold. So that's one final thought. Sam, how do we finish off each day,
Okay.
happy
I
half
know
hour?
we're running over. I do have just about two or three more things just to points to make before we get to the wine drawing. Just if you are our client or if you're not our client, we are unable to sell this to you. There are only a handful of ways that you are able to buy cryptocurrency. Uh, One of the main ways is there's you can use a group called Coinbase. It's an application on your phone, or you could do it over the web. You can buy it through them. I actually just found out that PayPal now allows you to buy cryptocurrency. Those are some ways you could do this on your own. Um, but again, we highly recommend you proceed with caution. If you're watching this, you are more than likely a retiree, close to retiree. That we don't necessarily believe that a good retirement portfolio has a large part of cryptocurrency. If you were to use this, it would be something we would consider play money and not a significant portion of your assets. This is highly risky, highly volatile. It could go to zero at any time. You could lose your shirt investing in this. So that is
The hopefully this convinced you. We don't know whether it might just be another tulip bulb, you know.
yes,
So
we think that there's some really cool, interesting concepts here. But as far we think that as far as just going out and buying a bunch of Bitcoin or buying a bunch of uh, unknown cryptocurrency, we would proceed with caution.
and while she's getting the drawing ready, if you are a guest here, if you come and are not a client and you have an interest in having us look at talking about your situation and your retirement, you'll get an email. You can look at your email that you got advertising this, or go to our website at Carolina Retirement Planners .com and just tell them you'd like to have a 15-minute phone call. We can get together and talk about it. So
And if you're looking at this bucket and you have no idea what's going on, each week we give away 2 bottles of wine from Fermental Bottle Shop located in Ogden. And to enter, all you have to do is email us at info@carolinarp.com throughout the week, or message us on Facebook, or send us a carrier pigeon, or respond to any of the emails or bombs you get from us throughout the week, and let us know you want to be entered into the wine drawing, or share the happy half hour with any of your friends. This week's winner of 2 bottles of wine is Miranda R. I feel like I saw you comment, Miranda, so I think you're with us today. So congratulations, Miranda. You have won 2 bottles of wine, and thanks y'all for joining us. We hope that this was entertaining for y'all and that we were able to give you some good information here.
Some good perspective.
And I
And
know
remember,
I saw some questions come through, and I'm so sorry that we weren't able to get to them. We had a lot of information to cover.
we may come back later and talk about this more.
Our compliance team is going to definitely frown on it, but we
We'll get, we'll,
maybe during one of our grab bags, we'll be able to come back in and
but remember, send us, we do this every Thursday to get in the drawing. All you got to do is drop us an email saying, put me in the drawing, or I shared it with friends, or I invited friends, or ask a question. And we'll be back with another topic next week. We haven't figured it out yet, but we will here, certainly. So take care, everybody. Happy half hour. Happy Thursday. Cheers. And we'll
cheers.
see you later.